Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gibbo the Shaman, and today we are doing something I thought that would be helpful for people. A lot of people have a big misunderstanding between what is Western astrology, also known as tropical astrology, and Vedic astrology, which is sidereal astrology. So these are kind of the two main astrological systems or zodiacs um, in order to, that people use in order to look at their chart and analyze things and things like that. So this is what this is about today. Um, so a lot of people have the misconception that whatever their chart says, whenever they're using Western or Vedic astrology, whenever they're using Western or Vedic astrology, they have this assumption that the planets in their chart and everything that is in their chart is completely accurate to, to where the real-time positions of the planets are or were. So I gotta tell you, this is not always accurate. So, a long time ago, when people were making these astrology charts, these astrology systems, they would, they would go outside and they would, look through a glass tube, which was a telescope or whatever, however they did it, and they basically calculated, okay, well, this planet moves this much and it's moving at a consistent rate this way, and that's, so they would look out at these stars, and this was, I'm kind of jealous of them, by the way. This was before all the light pollution that we have. So when they were, you know, sitting out in a grass field at night, hanging out with their homies or whatever they did, they would, see the different stars, the different constellations, the different planets, and over a long enough period of time, they were discerning things about these things. So they would say, oh yeah, that's, that's the Little Dipper, that's the Big Dipper, that's Aries, that's Taurus, whatever. Just because these constellations in the sky would look to them like certain things. Like Aries looks like a ram, or Taurus looks like a bull. Things like that. They would, and this is like if you were going to ask an astronomer, okay, I want you to tell me what this looks like. He'll just say, I don't know, looks like a bunch of stars to me. Why are you trying to get, a meaning out of this? This is just stars. This is just stupid stars in the sky. Who cares, But that's the attitude that I think the average person has. But I can tell you that there was some divine guidance there. These seers, these astronomers, astrologers, they picked up over a long enough period of time. They came up with a system of like, okay, this is how the planets move. This is how this is, this is the constellations, the stars around us. This is the, if you imagine 3D, the third dimension, as like this ball with these constellations that are surrounding Earth, and of course the solar system. So what happens is you get, the astrologers are picking up stuff. They're like, oh yeah, that's the sun, that's the moon, that's Mercury, that's Mars, that's Venus, that's Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And so they would start to pick up on things. Oh yeah, when Uranus is here, we have this event happening, or this correlates to that, or this, that. It was a science that developed over hundreds or even thousands of years. And this is the history that nobody tells us about because, they don't want us to know that there was other civilizations in our past that were very much more advanced, not only technologically but also spiritually than us. So here we have two systems. We have Vedic astrology and we have Western astrology, right? So here, what you're looking at here is you're looking at a Vedic sidereal astrology chart. This is on my iPad. I'm able to broadcast this to my computer here. So now, I want you to take a look at your left-hand side, the list of planets there, the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, all that. I want you to pay very close attention to the degree placements of these things. So, and we're doing this for a very good reason, okay? So, watch this. So, if you love, Western astrology, tropical astrology, then I want you to pay very close attention. Okay, so we have the Sun at 14 degrees, the Moon at 21 degrees, Scorpio. You can pick up on, you might even want to take a screenshot or something. I'll go back to the start in a second, but I just want to make a mental note of this. So let's pay attention to something like Mars, okay? So we have Mars at 21 degrees of Virgo, right? That's Mars there. So now I'm going to go into the into Western astrology. I'm basically turning off the sidereal chart and turning on the Western astrology tropical chart. Okay, so Mars was at 21 degrees of Virgo, and Mars is now at 15 degrees of Libra. So what does that tell you? It tells you that these are not the same things. So we had Sun at let me see here. So I'm gonna go flip between these two, right? So we have the sidereal now. So we have Sun at 14 degrees of Leo in sidereal. And we have Sun at 8 degrees of Virgo. How could that happen? How could this be? That these two charts do not align up? Well, I can tell you why. Because the brilliance of the Vedic astrologers accounted for the precession of the equinox. So Earth is naturally on a wobble. And so, it's like the precession of the equinox, meaning that Earth is not always on a same kind of the same plane as it always is. So it essentially the tilt of the Earth, meaning that so it's So I think it has to do with the tilt of the Earth and that it wobbles. So, you know, it would be one thing if the Earth was, you know, stationary at, you know, 80 degrees, right? So we have this Earth and it's rotating around the sun at 80 degrees, but it also rotates, it also flips, and it, you know, goes around. This is called the precession of the equinox. So let me see. So I'm gonna go ahead and look this up real quick. All right, so we'll check this out. Precession of the equinox, more commonly known as the precession of the equinoxes, is a slow wobble of Earth's axis that causes the equinoxes to shift westward along the ecliptic over a cycle of about 26,000 years. Okay? Now, this is interesting because this also, that 26,000 year mark also corresponds with the Yuga cycle. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's I don't want to really distract from this topic, but it's basically where humanity goes through different cycles. So we have Satya Yuga. So it's a 26,000 year cycle, but 13,000 years is half of that cycle. So at, 26,000 years ago, we were in Dwapara Yuga. Now, 13,000 years ago, we were just coming out of Satya Yuga. So if you imagine, like, Satya Yuga is in the upper third, and then Treta Yuga is in the upper, like, half part, and then Dwapara Yuga is in the lower half part, lower quarter, and then Kali Yuga makes up a small portion at the bottom. So, we, the Dark Ages or Kali Yuga, that's just what it is, and a lot of people think that, mistakenly think that we're still in Kali Yuga, but we're not. We came out of that. We're in Dwapara Yuga. So, this is what the precession of the equinox is. It's the like wobble of the earth. Now, a very important thing is that it says it causes the equinoxes to shift westward along the ecliptic over cycle about 25,000 years. So, let me see here. Yeah, so it's worth pulling this up actually. So let me see here. I'm gonna see here. There you go. So this is the precession of the equinox. So you see this wobble here. This is what it's talking about. So we don't just stay in a steady kind of, stationary thing like that. It kind of goes in a wobble. That is the precession of the equinox. Okay. So, and again, the stuff is not that important to know. You just should know that this is why the charts are different. So here's the difference, folks. So let's say that the sidereal astrology, meaning Vedic astrology, and Western astrology, meaning tropical astrology, those two astrological systems let's just assume that they had the same calculation, except for one did not account for this precession of the equinox. And it's granted, it's a small mistake to make, but over the course of time, it has drifted these two calculations. So they were, a long time ago, they were very accurate, but over time they've shifted, out of place just due to this precession of the equinox. That's why these two systems are so totally different. So even the calculations of where the planets are in space is totally different. I think they say it's like 24 degrees apart. So let's actually, I'm gonna go ahead and challenge that. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and test that. So let's go ahead and I'll close this out, and we're just going to pay attention. So we'll just do let's look at Mercury, okay? So I'm gonna test it out. Test Mercury. It's at so Mercury right now is at 26 degrees of Leo. Okay. Alright, so let's do this. And now Mercury is at 2 degrees of Leo. So yes, that is a 24-degree difference. So yeah, so the tropical astrology is going to be ahead by 24 degrees. Now that's a big difference. That's, if you were to ask me, it's like being born a day apart. It's like being born like 24 days apart. It's like you can't even do anything with that. You can't even work with that because it's such an inaccurate system. So I want to show you guys. So in case you don't know, I found a really cool kind of let me see here. It's a very cool, like a solar map. So right now, if you look at this chart, we have right here, and you look at the chart on the left. I should, the chart on the right is just totally irrelevant for what we're talking about. So look at this chart on the left called the D1. You can see that in blue, and you can see that that Saturn and Neptune are very close together. They are extremely close together. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to test that out. So let's see here. So look at where Saturn is placed. That is, sorry. Let's see here. So Saturn is placed at 5 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune is 7 degrees of Pisces. So they are 1 degree apart. Okay, so this is a really good example because I can actually show you what that means. So Saturn 5 degrees Pisces, Neptune 7 degrees Pisces. And this is in sidereal zodiac. So let's see here. Here we go. So in this view, we have Earth right here, and this is what I'm centering my perspective around, so you can see that the camera is locked on Earth, so it's rotating around the Earth. And here we go. And by the way, guys, a lot of people are very confused about charts. It's like, okay, well, am I viewing the astrological chart from what? From the sun, because it's in the center of our solar system, or from where? So, because we are born on the earth, we're looking at it from Earth's perspective. Now, the entire chart, the house system is, you could say, that's the earth. That's what grounds this into existence. So into physical manifestation. Because the first house, or the ascendant, that's where the the sign, your birth sign, let's say you're a Libra. Your birth sign was rising in the east at that time of birth. When you inhaled your first breath, you inhaled all the, what's called is the ether, the prana, the energies of the universe. This locked you in to your current birth chart and your current life experiences based on what's happening in celestially. Okay. So here we have Neptune and Saturn. Now they are 5 degrees and 7 degrees of Pisces, and they are being viewed from Earth. Now, if we would view them from, somewhere else in the solar system, then there would be, there would be a different degree calculation and a different placement. So in order to better understand this, so in this viewing, we don't have the constellations to see. So there are no, oops, the heck. Let me see here. Yeah, there are, whoa, let me see here. Okay, let's see here. Hold on. Okay, I don't know what I did. But there are, you can see there's no constellations that are sticking out, right? So that just means that we don't really have any constellations to compare to, right? What is going on with this? This is being difficult. Let me try to reload it. There we go. Okay, let's click on Earth. What? No, Earth. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. So, yeah, so, you don't really, in this chart, you don't get to see, like, the constellations and stuff like that. But, yeah, just, if you look at the chart here that I'm looking at, we can see that Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces. So that general direction is Pisces, whereas the Mercury and the Sun are in Leo. Or, yeah, Leo. So actually, if you go, hold on, so let's see, so you can kind of see that from the Earth, the Sun and Mercury are like at this angle here. It's not exactly straight on, but it's at an angle, meaning that they're in a different sign. So, let's see here. I'm gonna just remove all these comets and meteors. Oops. Crap. Alright. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier to see. So, and then, you can see that from the Earth, the Sun and Mercury are pretty close together. So they are, let's see here. Sun is at 14 degrees of Leo, and Mercury is at 2 degrees of Leo. So you can see what that 14-degree gap means, what it looks like. And so this is also how we can get, you know how Mercury likes to go retrograde on us, right? So that is just Mercury moving behind the sun. So when it's going to the right in front of the sun, it looks like it's going in reverse. So when it's in front of the sun and going to the right, it looks like it's going in the proper direction. And when it's going behind the sun, it looks like it's going in reverse. So that is what a retrogradation looks like. So let me see here if I can maybe do this. So we are coming around, trying to focus it. So that is forward motion, and that is retrogradation. See that? So that's basically what that is. Let me see here. So let's pause this. Okay. So yeah, that's everybody gets all freaked out about retrograde planets. But I mean that's just what it is. It's just looking like it's going behind the sun, or it's going in the opposite direction to the way that it normally goes. So yeah, normally planets go from, Aries to Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, things like that. In that order, in that forward order. But then when, say, a planet goes from Leo to Cancer, that motion, that backward motion is what we call a retrograde planet. So, I just wanted to really talk to you guys about this today and kind of clear up some confusion. And I know that, because a lot of you guys are still stuck on Western astrology, and it's just like, it's, I can tell you, even from, I mean, Vedic astrology has so much to offer. It's just, it's just, yeah. So, let's see here. Gotta go back. January. All right. All right. Cool. All right. So I'm just adjusting this. I want it to be like where we are right now. So, okay. Cool. So, I hope this helped you. And yeah, if you have any questions about this stuff, leave them in the description, or sorry, in the comments. And yeah, you can, from this chart here, I mean, you can literally. So this was the main point that I wanted to get across, guys, is that the literal positions of these big rocks that we call planets in our solar system, the exact positions are reflected in the sidereal chart. It's not just a concept, it's not just, oh yeah, that's where it is. No, a lot of people, if you're using Western astrology, you're getting a lot of things wrong. So a lot of people say, oh yeah, Western astrologers are just using their, their intellect or their instincts to predict things. But okay, that's fine. But that's no different than using something like a tarot deck or something. It's the Western chart is just totally meaningless, because it's inaccurate. I wouldn't want to use an inaccurate calculator to do my taxes with. Why would you want to use an inaccurate calculation to do your... I mean, this is the mapping of your personality. This is the mapping of your life. You use this to make decisions and predictions and things like that with. So why would you want to use an inaccurate calculation? This is what baffles me. It's just like, oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna use it anyway. It's not wrong. No, it is wrong. It quite literally is wrong by 24 degrees, guys. So, let's say, so yeah, I mean, it's so frustrating for me as an astrologer, just because it's just like people constantly come into my channel and they want to ask me about their Western astrology placements, and I'm just like, man, those are inaccurate. And here's another thing. Here is why we use the ascendant placement, the ascendant sign, as your zodiac sign. So the sun does nothing. The sun is just the center of the solar system. That's it. Sun does nothing. It's basically, just... It does represent some things, but it's, a lot of people overhype the sun. Oh yeah, that's my sun sign. That's where, like for me, Cancer is my sun sign in Western astrology, but that doesn't reflect all of who I am. So people like to use their sun sign because it's easy. It changes every 30 days. So if you were born in a certain month, then you have this sun sign. Okay, but that's not actually helpful to someone, because it's not personalized, it's not detailed, it's not accurate to the, to your inner experiences. In fact, if you use your moon chart, if you put your moon as your ascendant, if you look at everything through the lens of your moon and where it's placed in your chart, you'll have a much more accurate, predictions and chart than you would by using your sun as the zodiac sign. So, but in sidereal astrology, what we do is we look at the ascendant, which, if you didn't know, the ascendant changes every 2 hours. Not every 30 days, every 2 hours. So, if you want to tell me, oh yeah, that's that doesn't work, or that's less personalized. I can tell you that no. Yeah, that's totally wrong. I have found my ascendant to be much more accurate to my personality, and even just the ascendant, if you didn't know, lays out your whole chart, because it, we know what we know what we know which sign is rising up in the east. So we know that that goes in your first house, say if it's a Libra like me. Then we know to put Scorpio in the second house, Sagittarius in the third, and so on. And that lays out your entire chart. So here's also, let me see here. I will do a, here we go. So I'm gonna do a quick lesson on how to figure out, like, read a chart. Okay? So, for example, so, I know that a lot of people, they look at this chart and they're just like, what in the hell? Right? I'm sure that's you right now. Like, what in the heck? That doesn't look like the circle with the lines that I'm used to in Vedic, in Western astrology, right? Well, so in Vedic astrology, we have a fixed house system. I think that's what it's called. That means that, if so, for example, if your ascendant is at 12 degrees of Aries, like this chart here. If your ascendant is at 12 degrees of Aries, that doesn't mean that the first house starts at 12 degrees of Aries and go to 12 degrees of Taurus. That means that the first house is Aries. That means the first degree of Aries to the 30th degree of Aries. Each sign has 30 degrees. Now, let's say if your ascendant, your time of birth, was at 29.9 degrees of Aries. Do you just say, oh yeah, I'm a Taurus? No, you don't. Aries was your birth sign. So we don't just say, oh no, I'm a Taurus. That means I'm a Taurus now. No, that means you're still an Aries. So just because the ascendant placement, the ascendant degree is at the latter portion of, whatever sign it's in, doesn't mean that you're the next sign. It means that you're this sign that you're in. Now, if you look at this chart here, this is a very easy chart. In fact, I will change this one on the right to the same chart. Okay, so that way you don't get distracted. So this is a very easy chart to read. Okay, so on the top there, you see that box with it says 1, meaning, right above that blue thing that says D1, it says right above that 1. Now that number 1 means that it is the first sign of the zodiac, which is what? Aries. The first sign of the zodiac is Aries. So, that means that this is the first house, not because it has a 1 on it, but because of its placement in this chart. So, anything that is in this house right here, this little diamond box, that is the first house. Where you see that 1, that is the first house, not because it has the 1 in it, but because that's just where it is. Now, if you look at, we'll go to the second house, which has Uranus in it, right? That is Taurus. So here I'll do something a little bit interesting here for you. We'll mix it up. There we go. Just clicked on Albert Einstein's chart. Now, what do we see? We see a 3 on top of the D1, where it says D1. On top of that, we see a 3. Does this mean that this is the third house? No. This is the first house still. So, for example, when you see this pattern of squares, right, you have, if you look on top of the D1 thing, that's the first house. If you look to the left of it, that's the fourth house. And this is the other thing, it goes counterclockwise. So, counterclockwise, meaning that you see that square. Let me see if I can pull this up. So right here where my mouse is, that's the first house. This is the second house. This is the third house. This is the fourth house. Fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. And that house system will be the same no matter what. If you have a Pisces ascendant, the Pisces sign will always be in this house. If you have a Virgo ascendant, that'll be in this house. If you have, if you're looking at the seventh house of marriage, that'll be this house right here. Oops, that'll be this house. So, you see, it's, it's really important to know this stuff, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. And this particular chart is called a North Indian chart. North Indian chart. Now, I'm not an expert in this, but we do also have the South Indian chart, which I'll show you here. So this is the same chart, and this is the South Indian chart that you see here on the right. So, the difference with this is that it's a lot different. So, let's see. So, we have Aries here. So we have 1 is where Ketu is, or sorry, Neptune is, and E. And then, you see the third house, that's Gemini. But this has a tint on this house, right? So this is how you'll know that this is the ascendant. So you go first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house. Now, on this chart, the all of the signs are fixed, meaning that Pisces will always be here, Aries will always be here, Aquarius will always be here. But the houses are twisted. So, wherever, let's say you have a Pisces ascendant, that means that this is the ascendant. So that means that this is the second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, etc. So in this chart, you can see, okay, let's say you have a Gemini ascendant. That means that Sagittarius, the ninth zodiac, which is Sagittarius, would be in the seventh house. But it's not as, honestly, I prefer the North Indian, just that's easier for me to read. If I already know with this chart where the houses are, so I just need to find where the signs are and the planets and go with that. Also, if you're ever curious, so this is Jyotish dashboard. Oh gosh. Okay, so this is Jyotish dashboard. You can get it for $10 on the App Store. Apple. I have Apple devices, so let's see here. So, yeah, I just prefer the North Indian chart just because it's much easier to read, just because I know where the things are. So it's like it's just easier to pick up on. So, yeah, guys, I think yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me today. So I'm already tired, so alright guys, well, I hope you had a good time here and maybe learned some things along the way. Yeah, so that's my whole point, is teaching you guys these things. So, and by the way, guys, you can, if you're a Vedic astrologer, you can by all means use sidereal astrology. Use this chart. You can even put it into, your weird circle format that I can't understand. By all means, just use the correct astrology, zodiac, ephemeris, and all that, the correct zodiac system. And yeah, you'll have, your accurate calculations, and you can even do things like, oh yeah, looking at midhaven, sextile, and whatever the Western astrologers do. But yeah, by all means, you can use that sidereal chart and analyze it through a Western astrology lens. That's okay too. But what you don't want to do is, take that Western astrology zodiac, that tropical zodiac, and just run with it. You don't want to do that, because again, you don't want to use an inaccurate system, because if you're going to use an inaccurate system, you might as well pull things out your ass. I mean, you might as well read tarot, or you might as well, invent something. Just go with your intuition or divination powers or whatever, or psychic powers. Now that having said that, having an accurate chart and having those powers of divination can work wonders together. I know it because my astrology teacher, has that ability and gift to just look at a chart within 10 seconds, just start talking about it. I like to go into the I particularly like to go into the kind of the intellectual kind of, okay, this is what this means, this is what this does, and it's not necessarily like left brains or right brained thinking. So yeah, although I have had my bit of divination experiences or channeling experiences. Alright, guys, so yeah, that's about all I have to say for today. I hope you guys have had a great time and learned some things and all that stuff. And by the way, please do go check out my astrology stuff. You can get a reading from me, get an astrology reading, a rune reading. You can get a career coaching or life coaching. I have distance energy healing available. I have my my book available on Amazon, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology. Patreon is available, patreon.com/GoByTheShaman, where I teach these things, these yoga practices, and also Qigong practices. Those are 2 separate courses. You can check out GoByTheShaman.com, patreon.com/GoByTheShaman, and yeah, that's gonna be about it. So, alright, guys. So, I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, we will speak to you later. Peace. Take care, guys.